Hi, everybody. This is Belly. Today's topic is going to be a hard one to talk about, and I do just kind of want to give a warning that if you're in maybe a more sensitive state of mind right now, maybe don't watch this video. But I wanted to make this video to spread awareness, and um, I'll kind of give more explanation after I explain it. So let me just cut to the point and say what happened. So I was at a place of work. Now I don't work there anymore, and I'm not going to say specifically where or what or whose name or anything. The only people who would know what I'm talking about are like the very few close people in my life. Other than that, nobody would know who I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about this story to like make fun of them or to like point the finger at these people. I'm making this story because I'm talking about this story because it is a real thing that is happening. So let's get into it. I was at work doing my business, and I had two coworkers, both female, one 18, one 19, and they were by like the door. So because they were just by the door, and it didn't seem like they were having a private conversation or anything, I just went over and said hi because I don't know, I was bored. Coworker A, coworker B. That's what I'm going to call them, A and B. So coworker A was here, coworker B was here. And coworker A said, "Oh, my boyfriend's coming over." Coworker B said, "Don't get pregnant." Coworker A said, "It's okay, I'll just get an abortion." I don't I don't even know how to respond to. So I was just standing there shocked, and I was like, "Okay, I guess this was a private conversation, but it's just anyone for here to hear about." So I go into the other part of where I'm working, and I just pretend to look busy or something. And then as I'm walking away, I hear them talking about natural ways to have an abortion. And I almost started crying. I almost started crying because I was like, how? How is it that a child's life is dictated by whether you want it or not? Because a few weeks later, coworker A, the one who wanted the abortion, a few weeks later, she's talking about how much she wants to have a baby in the future with her boyfriend. So it's just, I was just shocked. I was stunned. And the fact that I'm not tearing up right now is pretty shocking to even myself. But the reason I say this is because this whole debate as to whether people are using abortion as birth control or not, it's real. It is a real thing, and this woman said it with no shame. And it just really, really hurt me to my soul that, I mean, um, that you, because you just don't feel like it, are gonna give up a baby. Because you're poor, you just don't wanna go through the pregnancy. Because you are not feeling your best, you just don't wanna go through the pregnancy. And guys, I know this is really, really hard to talk about, which is why I said that, like, if you're in a more sensitive state of mind, click off the video, because this subject, whether you agree with me or not, can be really, really tough. But I mean, life does begin at conception. The only time I could see an abortion being okay, I'm still debating this, so don't take my word for it, is if it's between the mom or the baby, because I don't think that, um, I mean, if you don't want to live with the trauma of having an abortion, then I guess in that scenario, you would want to kill yourself instead of your baby. But I just think that, I mean, if you're in a life or death situation, as the woman, you can have more children, and you don't want to make your husband into a single father. That's the only scenario where I think abortion could be on the table. And that's just my opinion. Maybe that will change. Um, and I understand why, abortion's traumatic no matter what. So there's that. could also give the baby up for adoption in a different scenario. And this stuff is hard to talk about. Like, if you have there was a story of a woman whose baby was, like, the spine was in its head and it was going to be born as a stillborn. I think that even if you know your baby's going to be a stillborn, having an abortion at like 20 weeks is very, very traumatic. And I don't wish anybody go through that. And the reason I know it's traumatic is because I've seen the videos of where, like, it's made me cry, of, like, not actual real life videos, but it's just a really big evil, because you have these abortion clinics who are being funded by, like, Satanists. Like, I'm not even saying, oh, maybe they could, no, like, literally the Satanic Temple is funding these people. Same with drag stuff for children. Basically, they're coming after your kids whether they're born or not. And it just is really sad because I've seen this video of this guy going into, like, an abortion clinic, like, meetup type of thing. And in the video, there's this woman saying, oh yeah, we, like, pull apart the baby's body and sell it. And, like, guys, abortion is disgusting. It is not fun for anybody involved, especially the baby. And I remember being in high school, and I had a class called Child Psychology, Intro to Psychology, and Children's Psychology and Development. So we were learning about male and female autonomy, and then we were learning about the sperm and the egg. So I think, like, Unit 1, Unit 2, very beginning of the semester, our teacher was like, okay, guys, I know this is a really tough subject, and I know it's really touchy, but life begins at conception. And I was just like, why is it a touchy subject, to simply just say that life begins at conception? Like, that shouldn't be a, like, I can see it as a touchy subject, but it shouldn't have that much, like, oh, trigger warning, because life does begin at conception. And it's like, okay, well, think about it like this. If you wanted an abortion, why do you want an abortion? Obviously, there's very, very evil cases where it's because of an assault. But let's be honest, 80% of the time, it's because you did it and you don't want to deal with the consequences of understanding that life and sex are intertwined. And now, obviously, there's people who are infertile. There are people who are going to be like, oh, what about this, this, and this in the comments? But, like, guys, life does begin at conception. Unfortunately, things do happen where there's a miscarriage, and that's very traumatic. You know, I've heard people say that miscarriages are the woman's fault, and I'm just like, that's a type of extreme that's just so sad. But my point is that abortion is real. It is mainly being used as birth control, even though, like, same with contraception. They said, oh, contraception will just be for married couples, but then they said, no, you need to have contraceptions devices in high schools when they're learning about sex ed. So it's just really, really disturbing how we create something and we're like, okay, this thing can be used for good in a very small amount of contexts, but then everybody demands it. Everybody demands contraception, everybody demands abortions, everybody demands this, that, and the third. And it's just like, guys, no. These things were made for rare cases, for, like, life or death situations. And even then, they were being abused. And it's just like, one thing that popped into my head that I said earlier is about, like, these abortion doctors that are not actually helping these people. They are, like, I'm gonna get very, very gruesome. They are selling these dead children's body parts that they have ripped out of your womb. Like, guys, this is a very sad subject. And I mean, obviously, that's like late term, midterm abortion. But even the Plan B pill is frustrating the sperm and the egg and causing any kind of cells that are developing for a baby to be eliminated. Like, literally eliminated, like a member on death row. Because that's what happens in like mid to late term abortions and even Plan B. Plan B, it kills the little cells that are creating the baby. And like me and you are made out of cells. So just because something is a cell does not mean it's life or is going to become a further amount of life. And then when a doctor is performing a mid to late term abortion, the they they shoot cardiac arrest into the baby. And you can look this up. They shoot cardiac arrest into the unborn baby like a member on death row. Like, I don't know how more evil you can get besides killing an innocent baby as you would a murderer on death row. Like, those are two very different things. Innocent unborn life and a murderer, raper, like abuser on death row. Like, those are two completely different things, and the fact that you can kill them both the same way is disturbing. So my point is that, you know, I do pray for this girl that I worked with, and I do pray that, like, she comes to understand the true travesties of abortion. So in this video, I'm talking about what they do to these babies because, and you can look this up yourself, like, you can see the drawn out medical demonstrations of what they do. And the first time I saw that, it made me cry. There's this guy who's pro-life, and he goes around the streets of New York City, I think, and he's like, "Are you guys pro-life or pro-choice?" "Oh, we're pro-choice." "Okay, here's a video of a cartoon medical demonstration of what they do to the baby mid to late term." And then people, especially the men, change their minds just like that because they see how evil it is. Sometimes we don't believe how evil something is until we know the true depth of it. So I think a lot of people are just misled and they don't understand how truly evil abortion actually is. And I think the reason why abortion is so available is because people use very emotional arguments to basically get their way. But I just wanted to make this video. It's already 13 minutes long, but my point is that I do pray for these people, but I'm also making this video to spread awareness that this is a real thing happening and that it's very, very disturbing. So if you guys are watching this video still to the end, like, and to those of you who are not watching this video to the end, I understand because this is a very, very, like, heartbreaking subject once you really understand the medical procedures with abortion. And I'm just trying my best to speak for the unborn and to speak for those who have regretted their abortions or who want an abortion but don't realize the true pain of it. So just as Christians, not even as a Christian, but just understanding the science that life begins at conception, I'm trying to get this message out. So tell me what you guys think in the comments. If there's anything I missed, let me know. If there's any other resources or things you have seen in your own personal life with this, let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys have an awesome day. And the best thing we can do is to pray for anybody involved, whether it's the unborn or the person doing it or the doctor doing it or whoever. Guys, prayer is fabulous. So have a good day and bye.